Thank you. My name is Kevin Kimbio, and I have the pleasure of serving as the president of Watabaruku Toastmasters Club. Now, they say if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we have come here to do this evening. We have come together to do something that is truly special. This isn't just an open house, it is an opportunity to connect, to be inspired, and to learn from none other than the world champion of public speaking. So, just to set the mood, let us break the ice a little bit. I want you in the chat to play with me a small game called Weather Check One Word Mood. And this is how it goes. You could, in the chat box, type one word that describes how you are feeling right now, but give it a weather twist. Say, for example, I am feeling sunny. I am feeling bright and ready. So, in the chat box, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Could you be feeling a little bit breezy this evening? Where you're joining us from? Just engage us in the chat box and we will get to see. Our general evaluator, cool. I'm guessing that's a little bit on the breezy side of life. Cold, Veronica. Cold. Wow, it's a cold evening everywhere. Thunderous. I'm guessing that's to do with the energy that we are packing this evening. Absolutely amazing. Wow. Keep them coming in. It's chilly. It's also chilly where I am. Thank you so much. As someone once said, a great speech is not just heard, it's felt. And tonight you're about to feel something very unforgettable. But before we get into that, allow me to invite our Sergeant at Arms to share with us our meeting etiquette. Over to you, our Sergeant at Arms.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our Toastmaster of the day has shared the agenda in the chat. Please have a look at it to understand what we're going to do today at this open house. By attending this online club meeting, you agree to the privacy policy of Toastmasters International. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages, may be shared with other meeting participants and used in the future as the club sees fit. Your online attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Please put on your video, if possible, at all times. That will enable us to engage better. Kindly put off your microphone unless you are speaking or called to speak, and use the emojis and the chat to engage throughout the meeting. As for how we'll rename ourselves, role takers, please start with your role with the hashtag followed by your role. For example, timer, Amina Amani. At Watabaruku, we have 3 evaluators. A content evaluator who will rename as CE, delivery evaluator who will rename as DE before their name, and grammarian who still sticks with grammarian. He will evaluate the language spoken. If you are a Toastmaster, whether of Watabaruku without a role or from another club, please start with your club name followed by your name. For example, Loudspeak, Team Tom. Last and not least, if you're yet to join Toastmasters, you are a guest and we welcome you. Start with the word guest followed by your name. Most importantly, enjoy your purpose to be here. Back to you, our president.
Thank you so much, our Sergeant at Arms, for today's meeting, who also happens to be our Vice President for Public Relations. And with that said and done, allow me just in a brief snippet to recognize the members or leadership present here. I will start with Watabaruku Club leadership, and I will ask the Vice President of Education, who happens to be the District Director, just to unmute and say hi to the members. Over to you, DD.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. A great pleasure for me to be here this evening. Welcome, everyone, to Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club. Looking forward to an amazing, amazing meeting. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Didi, for that brief intro. Once more, I will pass this over to our Vice President for Public Relations. Over to you, Kevin Rubia, DTL.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'll be posting our social media handles on the chat using one link, and another link is to our website. Please visit us, follow us, subscribe, enjoy. Back to you, Mr. President.
Amazing stuff. Allow me to also take recognition of division leadership present with us. Over to you, Division D Director.
Good evening, Mr. President. Good evening to our guests. Good evening to visiting Toastmasters from the different parts of the world you're joining from. It is indeed a pleasure to join you all this evening, and I look forward to an exciting meeting. Welcome to the only advanced club. That's the claim by Mr. President within D114. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, D Director. And forwards and onwards, allow me to recognize the presence of AD13 Director. Over to you, Maggy Waithiru.
Good evening, everybody. Happy to see you all. I will say nothing else because you're going to hear a lot from me today. Back to you, Mr. President.
And that is true, absolutely amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my singular privilege and honor to introduce to you today's evening Toastmaster. And that is none other than Maggy Waithiru. Maggy Waithiru has been a Toastmaster since 2016. She has remained in good standing year in, year out. Congratulations, Maggy. This keeps her committed to her growth and places her in a structured space to serve. Maggy is at a stage where she is yearning more from Toastmasters, and which is the reason why she joined Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club. Having previously completed innovative planning and effective coaching, Maggy hopes that as she works on her two additional paths, that is motivational strategies and presentation mastery, she will command the stage as a better and more engaging speaker that empowers people to live a healthier lifestyle through their daily habits. Maggy is a nutrition and wellness coach who consistently embodies the principles of healthy living in her own life. She is looking forward to interacting with you all this evening. And with that said and done, allow me to invite you all to switch on your mic and with a thunderous applause, welcome our Toastmaster of today evening, none other than the amazing Maggy Waithiru. Over to you, Maggy.
I was listening to see, first I was checking to see if people are clapping, and I was hoping to see a few mics be unmuted. I love claps. That's the biggest thing that I think keeps me in Toastmasters. Everybody's always clapping. A bit of exercise for our palms. Joining Toastmasters has always been a joy for me. Joining Watabaruku at the end of 2024, ladies and gentlemen, was a major impulsive buy. I usually say I don't like shopping. But when I heard about Watabaruku, impulse buy right there, I did not even think twice about it. And it was the best Toastmasters gift I gave myself in 2024.
Point of order. Madam Toastmaster of the Day, you are on mute. We had you last on joining Watabaruku.
Oh, have I been talking to myself all this time?
No, you were telling us how happy, how ecstatic you are to joining Watabaruku. That's why we had you last.
Yeah. Okay, that is called excitement too much. And what I was saying is, yes, I joined Watabaruku because I wanted to give myself a special gift in 2024. in Toastmasters because I knew there was a little bit more that it can offer me. In fact, a lot more that it can offer me than a regular club. And you will hear more about it and witness it tonight. That level of insight that you will get in Toastmasters will help you to grow, and you will continue working even harder for yourself. I enjoy listening to podcasts. How many people here like listening to podcasts? Some people don't. Podcasts. Thank you. How many people here like reading books? You're Toastmasters. People love reading. Okay, I'm not seeing many hands go up, but it's okay. Maybe you're going to be the next author of the book that we are all going to be reading. But remember, if you don't celebrate other readers, even as we're not going to celebrate you. However, when I listen to a podcast or I read a book, I ask myself, how has this book or how has this podcast imbued me to be a better person than I was yesterday? And then I ask, because I like talking and I'm in Toastmasters, how will my voice become part of a legacy? Watabaruku Advanced Club is the public space for that. For me, it's a public speaking university. And I didn't know I needed it until I came in. It helps me to lay a strong foundation to become a voice that empowers others, as you heard in my introduction by our president, to live healthier lives. My progress may be slow. I like to say I'm kind of a slow learner. Eventually do get there. I keep moving forward. Along the way today, I will share names of people who, because they used their voices, because they got out of their comfort zone of our nice community clubs, regular clubs, they imbue us to be better stewards of our resources. You will wonder why I'm using the word imbue. It's my new word. By the end of today's session, I hope you too will feel inspired to join us at Watabaruku. But without further ado, I want to quickly walk you through our agenda. I shared it in the chat and I will share it again after this introduction. The structure of our meeting is like any other Toastmasters meeting you will encounter or you have already encountered. We have a prepared speech and we have evaluations, but our evaluations come with a bit of cinnamon and chocolate and a little bit of cayenne on top to make it even spicier or yummier for us at the end, so that at the end of the feedback that you receive, you feel empowered to be the next big speaker in your life. You will also hear a table topics session, which will be led by Kevin Kimbio, our president. But before that, there's going to be a tip session. Let's not call it a tip session. You will hear from our district director. Some people have not heard our district director speak. He is an amazing person. I think he's the best district director I've ever encountered, and I've been in Toastmasters for, oh my God, yeah, a long time. 9 years I have been in Toastmasters, and for me, he's the best district director, and I'm not saying that because I need anything from him other than today. Today, I need you for 10 minutes. You will also hear the evaluations, as I said, and then there's going to be the keynote speech from Luisa Montalvo. This woman, you guys, you don't know. You will see, you're seeing her here on the screen. I met her in person. She is an amazing human being, and you will hear why. Then you will hear reports that will be led by our general evaluator, and then a business section. I will now invite our role takers to introduce their roles, and I will start with our grammarian, because he's the one I'm seeing first. I'll start with our grammarian, who is, and you will understand why he's our grammarian. Samson Makodwol is our grammarian. Right there with one of the people that we admire a lot in Kenya called Patrick Lumumba. He speaks very eloquently. However, when I asked all these role takers 4 questions. How long they've been in Toastmasters? What keeps them? Which author or speaker inspires them? And how do they desire to use the lessons they have picked from Toastmasters to impact or to up their speaking game? For Samson, he's a member of Thika Toastmasters, or they like to say the Thika Toastmasters, which is not grammatically correct. So it is Thika Toastmasters. He is our grammarian and accounter. I don't know whether he's picked a few from me, but I know grammar-wise he has. He's been in Toastmasters for 10 years. Are you a DTM yet, Samson?
Not.
The reason why he's going to join Watabaruku. What keeps him here? The pursuit of knowledge and purpose. And he loves enjoying opinions from The Guardian and New York Times because they give him insightful and incisive information, and they use a lot of rhetorical in their write-up. For him, every lesson, skill, and insight he picks from Toastmasters deploys towards motivational speaking to inspire virtuous leaders. We're the future president of Kenya. Over to you, Samson, to lead us to tell us what to expect from you today.
Thank you very much, Maggie. I must say, as a child, that used to be my dream, to be the president of Kenya. Unfortunately, politics has disillusioned me over the years, but maybe it's time to step up. We might need a Toastmaster to step up to be the next leader. The reason I'm not a DTM is because my Toastmaster journey has been more about mentoring, opening clubs, less about giving speeches, but I think it's about time now I start focusing on myself. So we'll see how that goes. So yes, Watabaruku would be a very good nest egg to build that dream. Today, as your grammarian, I'll be reminding you that Toastmaster recognizes that a good, a great, and an excellent speech rests on three pillars: content, delivery, and grammar. Often we neglect that last part, but like a three-legged stool, without grammar, your speech could easily fall apart. My role as your grammarian today is to anchor that third leg of that stool in your speech, because we recognize that good grammar makes your speech impactful and memorable. In my role, I will not only be looking for exceptional, not just good, exceptional use of the English language, but I'll also be looking for improper use of the language. And I have a list with me that I will later on clarify of 5 common mistakes that I'll be looking out for and be checking against. If we can avoid this, I'll be very happy in the meeting. Additionally, as your grammarian, I'll also be playing the role of accounter, looking out for crutch words and filler words. And these are phrases that speakers tend to use to buy time or to fill awkward silences in their speech, such as are, basically, actually, you know. These words tend to detract from your clarity in your speech and reduce the impact of your speech. At the end of the meeting, I will provide a report and encourage everybody who speaks today, albeit for 30 seconds, because we know 30 seconds can change your life. Ask anybody who has delivered an impactful elevator pitch. So for every speaker today, take a moment to apply any rhetorical flourish that you can deploy towards making your speech memorable. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Samson, for that wonderful introduction to your role. I'm sure you're all imbued to use the King's language in the appropriate manner.
Sorry, Madam Toastmaster, I got caught up and I forgot to introduce. I have posted the word of the day on the chat. I'm so sorry. Our word of the day today is imbue. Imbue is a verb which means to fill something or someone with a particular feeling, quality, or idea. So for example, in keeping with our theme today, to level up your speech, you may consider imbuing it with deep philosophical thinking. For younger audiences, the speaker may imbue their speech with humor. After attending the Toastmasters conference, the club members seem to be imbued with a new sense of passion and drive. I'll also be happy to accept synonyms such as infuse, ingrain, or permeate. Kindly remember, imbue tends to go together with the word with. So that's how you know you're using it properly. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
No, I might not use it because it's basically that twist. So I will use infuse instead. Then I don't have to worry too much. Our next role taker is Kevin Kimbio. You will see in the agenda that the name is Liaison. Liaison is held up and hasn't joined us yet. In Toastmasters, we say a Toastmaster wears many hats, and Kimbio is going to wear yet another hat as the timer for today. While you're at it, you can also let us know what we shall expect from you when you when you take up the role of Table Topics Master. When I asked Kimbio about how long he's been in Toastmasters, the first time I heard this, I thought he's lying. He is such a good president. He's only been in Toastmasters for 3 years. And he stays in Toastmasters because it presents an opportunity to grow in more ways than one. PLO Lumumba, who I mentioned at the beginning, is a prominent Kenyan lawyer who is known for his eloquence and strong advocacy for good governance and African unity. You listen to PLO Lumumba, you're like this. Like, how much English does this guy know? Bedtime story, because he speaks amazingly. You must all listen to him if you don't know him. I know Luisa might not know him. And that's who he admires the most. And he hopes by the end of being in Toastmasters, which has no end, infinity, he will become a strong and confident speaker. Over to you, Mr. President, Table Topics Master, Timer, to introduce your roles tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our Toastmaster of today evening, Maggy Waithiru. Indeed, I will be the timer for today's meeting. And my role as timer is to make sure that all the Toastmasters present here are imbued with the ability to time their own speeches and to speak in a timely fashion. As timer, I will be timing the table topic session speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I will also alert every speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote specific times remaining. During the table topic session, speakers should limit their speeches to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will raise the green card. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I will raise the red card. Today, being an open house session, we do have a variety of speeches. And therefore, with 2 minutes left to time, I will raise the green card. With 1 minute left to time, I will raise the yellow card. And with 0 minutes left, I will raise the red card. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the evening. Now, forwards and onwards to my role as Table Topics Master of today evening. My duty is to make sure that you are able as a Toastmaster to speak instantaneously, to foster the act of extemporaneous speaking. And therefore, when called upon, I will be asking questions which you will be expected to speak on for at least 2 minutes, and therefore improve or sharpen your skills of extemporaneous speaking. Over to you, Maggy Waithiru, Toastmaster of the evening.
Whenever Kevin Kimbio speaks, he infuses such beautiful grammar and new words into his language. It's always a marvel to listen to. Thank you, Mr. President, and Timer and Table Topics Master. Our next role taker is going to be the General Evaluator, who will just quickly give us a quick overview of what to expect from her tonight. And then I will go to the next segment. Over to you, General Evaluator. And
thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you, Toastmaster Maggy. Indeed, this meeting has already imbued me with the warmth, and I'm hoping that I will advance my communication skills. As the General Evaluator, my role this evening is to observe the entire session and evaluate the overall meeting. I will look out for good elements of organization, delivery, role performance, learning experience, because this is a learning opportunity, as well as the management and general flow of this meeting. I will be called upon at the tail end of the meeting to give a report, and indeed I will provide that report with respect to the specific areas. When you take the role of a general evaluator, the 2 skills that you may learn that I want to point out, one is that you're able to develop your leadership skills because you work with a number of leaders who are taking roles within the session. The other very important skill for me is listening and being able to report actively. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator Emilly Owiti. The next segment is special. It's special because, as I said, we're going to hear from our district director, who is also a distinguished Toastmaster, Robert Karanja. Robert has held very many roles within Toastmasters leadership. I will not point them out today because that would mean we extend our meeting by 30 minutes, which we do not have. I will now invite our Vice President of Education, our District Director, to lead us through the next segment about Watabaruku Toastmasters, its club, vision, and practices. Over to you, Didi.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. It's a great pleasure for me to be here this evening. And as I get started on my presentation, one of the things that I've learned from mentoring different people in our district, from observing people after they've delivered their speech at different levels of leadership, is that being able to speak in public touches at the core of our confidence. You might be the most capable professional in your field, but if you cannot speak in public about what you know or the skills that you have, you find that you do feel quite incapable, and it can touch quite greatly on the sense of self-confidence that you have in yourself. And so when it comes to public speaking, we find that when people come to Toastmasters, they are in a position where they need that uplifting. They need that kind of support that our clubs can provide them, for them to feel great about themselves, for them to feel capable of doing the things that they're actually capable of doing. And most of the people that we find are looking for an environment. They're not actually looking for skills, but rather they're looking for an environment. And what do I mean by this? Imagine when you're talking with a friend, you're telling them about the holiday that you had in Addis Ababa. You're going to have vocal variety, you're going to have gestures, you're going to have vivid language. You're not going to have as in your speech. You're going to be a polished presenter. And that is because you are in that environment that feels positive and supportive. And that is what the mission of a typical Toastmasters club is. It's that it provides a positive and supportive environment where our members are empowered to develop public speaking and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence. So in the network of clubs that we have all over the world, what we are trying to do is provide that kind of place where someone can come with their fear of standing in front of an audience, and through the mentorship that we provide them, through the evaluations that we provide them, through the clapping that we give them, through the different people who take up roles in the club, we provide them an environment where they feel comfortable, they relax. And so those innate skills that they have in their profession, those innate skills that they have as an individual, come out whenever they are standing in front of an audience, because of the kind of self-confidence that we have empowered them, that we have allowed them to develop over time. And when we come to thinking about an advanced club, is that we provide a particularly focused environment, because at a typical club, people have different needs. People come in just to learn how to speak in public so that they can deliver just one speech. They come to be able to develop their public speaking skills so that they can interact better with other colleagues at their workplace. But at an advanced club, what we're trying to do is provide an environment, a positive and supportive environment, where you can develop presentation mastery. And when you think about it, what stands before a typical Toastmasters member who has completed level 3? What stands between them and being able to stand in front of an audience and speak to 60,000 people is simply self-confidence. And that is what an advanced club is meant to help our members overcome, help them gain that self-confidence to stand in front of huge crowds and develop and present with amazing skills. And so at our Watabaruku Toastmasters, the way that we do that is through providing refined evaluations. We turn you into a polished presenter through polished feedback. And the way we do this is we've borrowed from the from the accredited speakers program, the judging criteria that they have. And so we evaluate you on 3 different areas. First of all, we evaluate you on the way that you structure your content, the way that you present your content, whether it has value, whether it is well structured, whether it connects with the audience so that it has the impact that you intend it to have. And for that, we usually give you a specific person in our club who is going to be looking out for those particular areas of your speech. Then we're going to have someone else who's going to be looking at the other areas of your speech, which is the presentation, the way that you use your body and the way that you use your voice in order to have the impact that you intend, to enhance the impact of the content that you have developed. And so we have someone who is going to look keenly at your body language and at your voice to make sure that these are refined as well. And finally, we encourage you to use the English language as a surgeon using a scalpel. That is with great precision, not like some dude in a jungle hacking away with a machete. And so there's going to be someone who's going to be looking out at the use of your language to make sure that you develop those skills, that where the words that you choose, the phrases that you use are going to make the greatest impact on the minds of the members of the audience that you are addressing. And so one of the things that I have gained from my experience as a member of Toastmasters is that when I came to Toastmasters, I shook, I froze, I forgot my lines. I will take weeks to prepare a speech. And I remember in 2024, I delivered my first speech my first formal speech in a club in about 2 years. And like anybody else, I was very, very afraid. Or do I still have it? And I delivered it at Radisson Toastmasters Club in Addis Ababa. But because of the experience that I'd gotten from Watabaruku Toastmasters, I remember when I was done with that speech, people said, yeah, that is exactly what we expect from a DTM delivering a speech at a Toastmasters club. And that is what we are offering you as a member of Toastmasters. We are offering you the opportunity to refine the skills that you have. The speech that you can deliver today is the best version of a speech that you can ever deliver, because you have put in all the work and you've done all that you can do to prepare for that speech. And if you want to deliver a better speech, then you need to start building a better version of yourself starting from today. And joining Watabaruku Toastmasters is what is going to offer you that 5 years from now, you are going to deliver a vastly better speech than you could deliver today because of the content evaluation that you receive, because of the body language evaluation, and because of the grammar evaluation that you're going to receive as a member of Watabaruku Toastmasters. And remembering that what we are providing you is a space for you to refine your public speaking skills, for you to become a polished presenter through polished feedback. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Wow, thank you very much, Didi Robert, for that excellent overview of what we should all be expecting from Watabaruku or any other advanced club that is called Watabaruku. Just saying. We are one. We should actually brand this name. I think Kevin did say what Watabaruku means. If he didn't, he should do that. Kevin Kimbio should do that during the table topic session. The next segment is, who here watched Jerry Maguire, the movie? We are not dating you or aging you. If you watched it, this is Samson waved. He probably watched it immediately it was released. It doesn't matter how old you are, you should have watched Jerry Maguire. And he says, show me the money. Now, we've heard about Watabaruku. Now we need to show you the money. And you will see that in the next segment, starting with a prepared speech from Serah Wanjiku, who has been in Toastmasters for 4 years. And she stays in Toastmasters because this is a space for her to enjoy self-development from within. She loves the author, Robert Greene. Who knows Robert Greene? It's okay. Don't be shy if you didn't know. Robert Greene is the author of the 48 Laws of Power. Very many people love that book. I might be the only person in the planet who doesn't like it, but the fact that Serah likes it, I'll learn from it. How does she desire to use the lesson she has picked from Toastmasters? She wants to have more fruitful relationships financially, platonically, spiritually, and romantically. You guys decide how she wants to use that, in what priority. Serah is going to be evaluated by 3 people. I will introduce them specifically when the segment for evaluations comes in, but I will call on Dr. Kevin Rubia, DTM, to introduce the speech. Over to you, Dr. Rubia.
Serah Wanjiku is undertaking the Level 4 project known as Manage Projects Successfully. This project has 2 speeches, of which she will deliver the first speech. The purpose of this project is for Serah to practice developing a plan, building a team, and fulfilling the plan with the help of her team. The purpose of this first speech is for her to give a short overview of the plan for her project in 2 to 3 minutes. Please help me welcome Serah Wanjiku, the open house, Serah Wanjiku.
The Oxford Dictionary describes an open house as an event or a place that visitors or guests are welcome. When my mentor invited me to convene this particular open house, an auspicious occasion to say the least, it was a bit scary at first because Watabaruku Advanced Club, that is not just a Toastmasters club. It is a club that, to say the least, in the Ivy League. So I had to come up with a team that would imbibe with our personalities, what we had to offer, and still show you that you can reach your goals in an advanced way. But time was of the essence, guys. I had 17 days, to say the least, to come up with a team, to market our club for the open house, and to make you know that we exist and how we exist. But the team I came up with made me look amazing without really doing much. I don't know if it's the competencies of this particular project or it's the people in the team. I chose AD Maggy Waithiru, our club president, Kevin Kimbio, Dr. Kevin Rubia, DTM, and myself to take up this auspicious occasion. And we had several meetings. It had to be evenings because at the end of the day, we have lives, guys, we have lives. So it was not as hard as I thought it would be, because by now you can tell the kind of personalities that are in these clubs. We are very different. We are playful in our own ways, but we execute very sharply. Like my club, my fellow club member, DTM Karanja said, we use English like a scalpel in a surgeon's. I'm working on it, that's why I'm here. And I have learned to manage a team. I have learned to delegate, which is something I struggled with. I know some of you, and I say this, know what I'm talking about. And with that, we have this day. It has come to be. I will ask that you stay tuned for my next speech so that I can show you how it was behind the scenes, how we were able to reach the numbers that you can see in attendance, and how each member played their parts. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Serah, for that wonderful speech infused with humor. And just to remind us that we are not here. This is one of the things that I picked. We are not here because we are experts. We are here because together as a team, we grow together. If you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you want to go with others, and we hold each other accountable. Thank you very much for that wonderful speech. We will now quickly segue to our table topics session, which is going to be led by our president, timer, everything. I will time the table topic speeches so that you can focus on the table topics. Over to you. Before you do that, did I say? Yes, I already said. I already introduced you. Over to you, Mr. Kimbio.
Hey. Thank you so much, our Toastmaster of today evening, Maggy Waithiru. Ladies and gentlemen, we are there. This is the fun portion of the meeting that allows you to learn impromptu speaking skills. Table topics allows every member, particularly those who haven't spoken or who do not have a speaking role, to speak at the meeting. I will read out a topic for you, which you are expected to speak for between 1 and 2 minutes. We encourage you to speak for at least 1 minute, but if you are able to stretch it to 2 minutes, now that would be the icing on the cake. And to imbue you with the art of extemporaneous speaking, I will start with the first question. And the first question is a very easy question. What is a childhood hobby or a game that shaped how you think today? And this very easy question, I will hand it over to Joyce Kaduki. Joyce Kaduki, over to you.
Childhood hobby that I didn't quite catch the second part of it.
A childhood hobby or a game that has shaped how you think today.
Childhood hobby that has shaped the way that I think today is reading. My mother has often told me that when I was growing up, I read anywhere and everywhere. Even when I was supposed to be cooking, I would go into the kitchen with a book, and as the food was cooking, I would be reading away. She didn't tell me the second part of what might have transpired as I read in the kitchen. I imagine that many a time I possibly burnt a few dishes and maybe oversalted some, but that reading has continued to pay dividends even into my adulthood. That reading opened up pathways for me to write better. Some of my compositions when I was back in school, and possibly by using the word composition, that might date me. Think about essays and stories, but they used to be read out in class, and that all stemmed from my reading a lot. Fast forward to my adulthood, and that reading has opened up pathways for me to not just think on one track, so to say, but it has opened up my mind and enabled me to consider many different points of view, even when I have an opinion. And therefore, that childhood hobby of reading not only opened up my childhood to worlds that I had never visited in person, but continues to influence me positively today and continue to expand the way at which I look at the world and also make my decisions. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joyce. Indeed, readers are leaders. Thank you for sharing with us that beautiful story. My next question is, describe a time you got lost but ended up finding something better. Describe a time you got lost but ended up finding something better. And this wonderful question goes to our very good friend, Mamu Tracy. Over to you, Mamu.
How did I know? A time I got lost, ended up finding something better. I don't know if this counts, but I remember thinking a certain someone was someone I would end up being with. We spent time together. We went on dates. As we were told by Serah, we were hoping to forge good romantic relationships. But alas, I found myself at a dead end. No explanation, no follow-up, just HR conversations. Yes, I'll follow back on you. We will convene in this conversation. We will carry forward later on the day. I was left flabbergasted. I have no idea what I did. I have no idea what happened. However, that is not the story. This is the story. I found myself, it's the word infused in a drama, or rather in a community that ended up giving me something way better. I ended up gaining a beloved friend who now is quote unquote a mother figure to me, who has showed me what truly companionship and love looks like. The other person is someone I hold very dear to me. I call him my grandpa also. No, he's not that old, but he does give me beautiful words of wisdom that have this thing that you put, has decorated my heart in places that I had put duct tape to hold together. So all in all, what I'm trying to say is the debt that was placed on me to present well in the world and to get lost in this game of love has ended me up in a community that has engulfed me and taken me as one of their own. So that is where I currently have ended up. And I hope for all of you who have duct tape to find medals in the end. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Mamu Tracy, for imbuing us with that decorative story. Elos Theophilus, you are on my radar, and this next question is yours. Share a story about stepping out of your comfort zone and what it taught you. A story about stepping out of your comfort zone and what it taught you. Over to you, Elos Theophilus.
Okay, wait. Can you hear me and see me before I start?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hello?
Loud and clear.
Good, thank you. Thank you. I walk on the fire. Can you imagine? I was walking on the fire, literally. The training itself called firewalk. At first, I was so scared that the fire will burn me up to the grips. And I need to imbue oil on that to make me on fire. Well, literally, of course, I'm walking on fire. And those experiences make me believe that I can do everything in this world. If I can walk to pass this fire, anything is possible. And since that day, I changed a lot. I transformed into someone else that I had never imagined. In the previous life, oh no, the previous me version of Ilias, I was so shy to even to talk to women. I didn't even dare to introduce myself. I could not even imbue humor to the conversation. And when I embrace the fire in me, I started to introduce myself. I say to the girl, "Oh, you're beautiful today. Not only today, tomorrow, and also every day. I see you're smiling right now. And yes, your parents should be proud of you. They have given birth to such a beautiful women like you." So yes, everyone, go from your comfort zone, conquer your fire, because you have something in you. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elos Theophilus. I hope, Mahmoud Tracy, you have heard those words. That didn't sound like a HR conversation. Who next? Could be you on our participants list. And my next question is, recall a time you made a mistake in public. How did you handle it?
Table topics
Recall a time.
master. Table topics master. One more question because we are, one more.
This is the last question, and it goes to Susan Nyambura. Over to you, Susan Nyambura. Recall a time you made a mistake in public, and how did you handle it? Wrap this up for us. Susan Nyambura, if you are not able to, I will pass this on to Brenda Maina. And if Brenda Minor is not also able to, Susan says I pass it to Brenda. Brenda, are you there? Going once, one more time.
Yes, please. Yes,
Okay.
I am there, please.
Recall a time you made a mistake in public. How did you handle it?
Mhm. It's not the courage. It's the courage to continue that keeps you going. Brenda, what have you done? That was the word from my boss. How could you do this? What happened? Believe you me, guys, I really did not know what had happened. My mind, my thoughts had gone ahead of me. The mistake was that I was supposed to be in court and do a presentation, present my submissions to the learned judge. However, I fumbled through the presentation, was very anxious. I was just newly admitted, thrown into the deep end. And that's when I knew I needed to join Toastmasters. Fast forward, I joined Toastmasters. And in Toastmasters, I was told, Brenda, you need to speak a bit slow. You're quite fast. But in the court, the magistrate never has time to listen as a pause and can you just do it quickly? We go to the next person. For me, the mistake was fumbling, going through the presentation, being anxious, not sure of what to do. However, I found my way, segued my way into Toastmasters, became a more confident speaker, gained my self-confidence, very articulate, made a lot of networks and connections, and Viola, here I am. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Brenda. That wraps it up for us. I'll pass this over to our Toastmaster of the evening, Maggy Waithiru.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master and President, for that wonderful segment. SA, do we have the polls ready for Table Topics? Right, it's showing. As we vote for our favorite speaker for the Table Topics session, I'll just quickly share with you somebody else that I truly admire. Who loves trees? Am I the only one? Yay! Very many of us love trees. In Kenya, we cannot look at a tree or walk on or drive past Kiambu Road or walk in Karura Forest, which is 2,500 acres of tree coverage, and not celebrate our gallant warrior, the late Wangari Maathai, whose voice took her to the global stage, and she became the first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Can you imagine if Wangari had not been bold enough to use her voice? Think about it for a second. Her activism often came at a personal cost. She was arrested, she was beaten, she was threatened, but she never backed down. She took her speaking game to a higher level, saved the planet, however long, many years she might have added to our lives because of the trees that she protected. How about you? Don't let your voice die. Level up your speaking game. I know you're all here, many of you. I know you're here to listen to Luisa. And Luisa is here. But who is Luisa? You might be wondering. Is that where we go to next, our president? Let me see. Are we going next to, no, we are going to the evaluations. Okay, sorry, Luisa. We are going to the evaluations. And as we think about the evaluations, I also want you to think about Walt Disney, who I know many people like to watch cartoons. Imagine if he has never used his voice through storytelling to entertain us. What a boring world it would be, right? All we would be watching is CNN. So let us celebrate those voices. I will talk a bit more about Walt Disney after we hear the speeches, the speech feedback from our evaluators. We will start with Kevin Rubia. Dr. Kevin Rubia will then invite Alligator Makori. Alligator Makori will then invite Samson. I do not come in until the end. Gentlemen, please do not call on me. Do not stay back to the Toastmaster of the day. You call on the next role taker. Only Samson should be calling me back to the floor. Kevin Rubia has been in Toastmasters for 5 years. He's now already a distinguished Toastmaster. He's here for the constant growth and opportunities. The person that he admires or he likes listening to is a Ghanaian broadcaster by the name of Anita. She's a talk show host and a respected authority on media and communications. He is looking forward to paid speaking engagements, of which I know he had already started enjoying thanks to Watabaruku. The other role taker or the other evaluator is Alligator Makori. You did hear from DTM Robert Karanja that we do 3 evaluations. Now you're going to see it at work. Alligator will deliver the delivery aspect of the speech. He's a member of Watabaruku. I think he's even one of the charter members. He's been in Toastmasters for 16 years. He's here for the camaraderie and growth. One person that he really admires is the late Maggy Waithiru, a renowned Kenyan author, scholar, and activist. He was imprisoned without trial by the Kenyan government, then Kenyan government in 1977, and proceeded, having written a book entitled Gahika Deda. Gahika Deda means I will marry when I want. Did you know, especially those in the African continent, did you know that while he was in prison, he wrote a book, Devil on the Cross, on toilet paper? Talk of using your voice no matter what. He is here in Toastmasters for organization and much more. You already heard from Samson Makodu, and now hand the session to Dr. Rubia to lead the feedback.
In content evaluation, Toastmasters and guests, we look at 3 aspects: speech development, audience response, and speech value. I'll proceed to evaluate.
Kevin Rubia, we don't see you. Is that intentional?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Thank you. Speech development, audience response, and speech value are three criteria when evaluating content of a speech. In speech development, we ask ourselves, did the speaker put ideas together so that the audience could understand them? Was the speech structured around a purpose or an idea? With the structure of a clear opening, body, and conclusion, were transitions effective? In the audience response, was the audience interest held by the speaker? Lastly, speech value. Did the speaker say something meaningful and original to the audience? Was it logical? Serah, the open house. The reason why we are here is the reason why you delivered your speech. Your speech development was spot on. Your ideas were logical. You had an opening where you defined what an open house was, went to the body to talk about your team members and what the plan would entail, and concluded. That said, I feel your conclusion was rather rushed. Consider apportioning adequate time from your opening to your body to your conclusion with smooth transitions so that it's not so rushed. In audience response, my interest was held throughout. This was an informative speech. I noticed that you imbued this speech with humor from time to time when you talked about the team members, for example. Kudos on making sure that my attention was grabbed for those 2 to 3 minutes. Did your speech have value? Yes, it did. It showed us the importance of having such a meeting, an open house, and glued us to make sure that at the end, we shall visit you in your next speech to tell us how the meeting went. In conclusion, your speech development, audience response, and speech value were excellent. Consider making sure that you have apportioned adequate time from your opening, body, and conclusion, and conclude with power. I can't wait for your next speech to learn what you have to say. Over to our delivery evaluator, Alligator Makori.
Alligator, are you in the room? Okay, we will skip Alligator for now and go to Samson. Over to Samson, and then we'll see if Alligator will be back.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. With respect to Sarah's speech, my role will entail evaluating how she chose, or rather how she deployed grammar to deliver her speech in an impactful way. Ideally, did the language she deployed promote a clear understanding of her thoughts, and did it align properly with the content of her speech? I must admit, it's tough to do a 2 to 3 minute speech and load it up with grammatical prowess. So I think that might have been a bit of a challenge because there was more focus, I think, here on content than rhetorical flourish. But I would say some of the things that really stood out for me in terms of your rhetoric devices was, number one, your diction, which is basically your style of enunciation. I thought you spoke very deliberately. Your cadence was very smooth. And at certain points when you were trying to make a point, an important point, you deployed more of a staccato tone. I also think that your pronunciation was perfect. I did not find certain, improper use of pronunciation. You use certain words to describe the open house event, which I think were appropriate in a sense, talking about this being an auspicious occasion. You repeated this word quite frequently. What I would encourage is going forward is try and employ synonyms when you're referring to certain words. So for example, you could have said it's an auspicious occasion. The next time you could have said it's propitious. The next time you could have said it's providential. Just enriches your language and makes it more impactful. I like the fact that typically in a Toastmaster speech, we tend to be very formal, but I like the way you are talking about and referring to us as guys. And it sort of roped us in because you're trying to build this spirit of camaraderie. So you're saying time was the essence, guys. We have to live our lives, guys. And so I think that colloquialism worked very effectively for you. Ultimately, all in all, I think within 2 or 3 minutes, you did a commendable job. I'm struggling a bit here, Sarah, I'll be honest. I will definitely give you a written report on this when I have a chance to review this. Just a couple of areas for improving your language. You talked of manage. This is normally a typical pronunciation issues as opposed to manage. Then you said something around, this made me look amazing without doing much. Try and become a bit more concise in your speech. So you could say, it made me look amazing effortlessly, right? So that just reduces the whole phrase and sentence. That said, do not find any crutch words, do not find any filler words. I think you acquitted yourself quite commendably. Back and over to Mr. Alligator, if he's been able to reconnect.
Delivery evaluation. When we think of delivery, what comes to mind? Physical appearance and voice, not forgetting stage presence. Did you have the three, Serah? Let's start with your physicality. I noticed you smiling throughout your speech. I didn't know that an open house could be so exciting that I have to smile just as you did. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, when we have informative speeches, a simple expression such as a smile can warm your audience just like it did me. Also notice that you moved from side to side. I don't know if that was intentional. Consider only moving when you need to. That will help reduce distractions. What about your voice? Voice, when it comes to a voice evaluation, we talk about flexibility, volume, rate, and inflection. Your pace was perfect for a 2 to 3 minute speech. Not too fast, not too slow. You varied your intonation. Just when you were saying guys, we made sure that we had the word guys a bit louder than the rest of the words, also increasing volume. Your voice was appropriate for this speech. Your platform style, I think, was used, your platform was used well rather, because it was more of a report and did not give an opportunity to move from side to side, which was not needed in this case. I commend you on using restraint appropriately. In Toastmasters, we may think that you need to do over and above. However, the power of restraint is important, especially in speeches such as this. That said, Serah, I commend you on your physicality, specifically your facial expressions in this speech, your voice with appropriate pacing, volume, and flexibility, and your use of restraint where you stood still. Consider only moving with purpose. And with that same call to action, I ask all of us who are present in this meeting to move with purpose and join Watabaruku Bilingual Toastmasters Club as your first, second, third, or fourth club. Over to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, gentlemen, and Dr. Rubia for having to step in as a delivery evaluator. I told you in Toastmasters, you have to know how to wear many hats. You've heard how we do our speech evaluations. That typically is how we do it. There is a segment, I know there's a form that's going to be shared. It's very important for us to also get feedback from you. In physical clubs, you get a piece of paper. Sometimes we throw away the paper. We don't keep the record. In Watabaruku, you'll have the record for as long as you want to keep it. You will receive a link in the chat. Has it been shared yet? You will see a link, and you'll also be voting for your favorite evaluator. I'm looking to see if the link has come up. SA? The link coming up?
Are we talking about the audience feedback?
Correct, correct. Coming up?
Yes, I will launch it right now.
All right. Please take time to respond to this. We've given you sufficient time. It's only 5 questions. When I got feedback on this form a few weeks ago, I was amazed by the candid feedback. If people are not honest, you're not able to grow. And often we sugarcoat our feedback in Toastmasters because you don't want to offend. But really, we know we are here to learn. We should not be worried about people taking offense. If they take offense, well, maybe that's an area of growth for you as an evaluator to know how to give feedback in a more compelling manner. I was talking about Disney as you give your feedback. I hope you can multitask, listening and typing and thinking. I'll keep it very short. When Disney wrote, or at least started sharing what he had to share, I hope you've all heard that his first attempt in this space of entertainment, he was rejected, but he didn't give up. He continued to show up. And as a result, we have theme parks. People pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go to Disney World and have fun and hopefully create lasting memories. He has created characters and stories that continue to inspire us for generations. And he's not just there to entertain. He has built a brand that has taught us values like hope, perseverance, and wonder. I hope wherever you are, you have a story. You think, oh, nobody cares about my story. Did I see Collins here? Yes, baby. He gave a very nice speech about yes, baby in Addis. Everybody has a story. What's your story? What's your plan with that story? Are you going to keep it to the grave, or are you going to use it to inspire people? Hopefully, you will find a space such as Watabaruku to come and practice that storytelling before you take it to the public. You will get wonderful feedback here. And obviously, we prefer when you're a member. Visitors are nice, but you know, it's good if you could move in. The next speaker who you came for, as I said earlier, is no stranger to the stage. This lady is amazing. She's warm, and you see her smiling, but then that smile is real. She is no stranger to the world stage. At the age of 65, she won the coveted Toastmaster World Championship in Anaheim through her speech titled 37 Strangers. Strangers who she probably had never met, probably has not met them yet, and yet they were key in saving her life. Luisa's speech, which was inspired by a near-death experience she survived in a serious accident in 2022, was delivered with precision, sparse yet powerful words, props, and humor. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't explain to you the energy that was in the room when she delivered that speech, which I feel honored to say, even me, I was there. You know, the way the Kenyans like to brag. Awesome me is the expression we use. Awesome me, even I was there. Though this accident physically changed her life, she still found humor in it. And it still did not steal her voice. Her voice is still a voice of impact. Luisa has a love for dogs that I can relate to. Maybe that's why we clicked immediately we met, though her mom is also called Maggie, like me. She is a dog rescue volunteer and runs an initiative called The Need to Speak. Luisa is joining us all the way from Texas. Where are your cowboy hat, guys. She's joining us all the way from Texas and is a member of Hub City Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please unmute, turn on your videos, let Luisa feel at home here in Africa or wherever it is you are. Let's go. I don't hear claps. Woo, 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 woo. Over to you, Luisa. Take the stage. We're not even going to time you. Knock yourself out.
Oh, no. I'm going to time me. I just want to make sure, am I audible right now?
Absolutely. I know you're a stickler for time. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I am. Excellent.
We do have a Q&A at the end, so don't think about the time for the Q&A. Just enjoy the space.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I hope that the speech I give right now will imbue the audience to be able to feel the positivity and reason to join an advanced club. My cousin and I went out to dinner last night, and I go to this restaurant all the time. The best service, the best people there on duty, the waiters, the cooks, everybody always doing their best. But last night, I got a waiter that was brand new. He did not take my order correctly. He brought me the wrong drink. He was very late in giving me my salad, which should have been first, and then my meal. And why am I telling you this? Why would you care? Well, you see, that's the difference. When you go to a restaurant, you expect a certain level of professionalism. And when I had a brand new waiter, I didn't get the professionalism of what a waiter should be, the caliber of what I was expecting. So when you are in a Toastmaster club, are you receiving the caliber of feedback, the caliber of members, and what they are supposed to be doing for you to become a better speaker? You see, this is an open house, and we're looking for members that are serious about wanting to become a better public speaker. With you joining an advanced club, the advanced club, believe it or not, is going to accelerate your growth. Well, how is that? There's a part in my speech, I've given a few keynotes. In fact, I was just in Africa a few weeks ago in Rabat, and I say in my speech about accelerating your growth. Now, if you are in a club and you are always winning your contests, guess what? You're in the wrong club. Why? Because if you are the best in your club and you're always the best in your club, you're not growing. You are not growing. You start to grow when you surround yourself with people that are better than you. Why is that? I remember a friend of mine said, "Can you teach me how to play racquetball?" I said, "Absolutely. It's one of my favorite sports." So I started teaching her, and within 4 months, guess what happened? She beat me in 3 out of 5 games. How did that happen? I was in teacher mode and she was in learning mode. So she surpassed my level and became better than me. Why? Because she was excelling her growth, excelling the growth. And when you join an advanced club such as this one, that's exactly what's going to happen to you. You are going to accelerate your growth and become better than what you were. That's why I say if you're in a club and you're winning all the contests, you're in the wrong club. Now, another thing that is an advantage of joining an advanced club is the feedback. You see, that's where you grow. I can get up on stage and give a speech and think I did a great job. And I'm like, "Luisa, you nailed it." And someone will always come up to me and say, "Can I recommend something?" And even though sometimes I might not want to hear it, yes, I need to hear it. Why? Because that's what's going to make me a better speaker. Even today, I am asking for people, give me an evaluation. Tell me how I can improve. Now, don't get me wrong. I love it when they say, oh my gosh, Luisa, that was amazing. Yes, who doesn't like that? But how am I going to get better if nobody comes up and tells me the truth? You know what, Luisa? You said or so, or you said gonna instead of going to, or wanna instead of want to. Yes, correct me. I want to be the best speaker. Look, I know I already have the trophy, and that's okay, but that doesn't mean I want to stop growing and learning. So being able to get advanced feedback from members that know how to give feedback, that's where you become better. Now, are you trying to reach the world stage? It's tough. It's tough. It took me 13 years. But if that's your goal, that's your goal. And this club, and I wish I would have known about you sooner, because maybe I could have been the world champion 4 or 5 years ago. But if that's what your goal is, this is the club to join. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe contests aren't you. You're just trying to become a better public speaker, or you're trying to be a motivational speaker or a coach. This club is the club for growth. Whichever avenue, whichever pathway you want to choose, you're in the right place right now. Now, how is that going to happen? You give a speech, and in giving your speech, you will learn to refine and elevate your public speaking level. Because once you start to get that powerful and impactful evaluation, now you know where you need to get better. So if you stop and think, you're in the club right now, and I'm going to say this, and I'm actually going to quote this as maybe something I just made up, unless maybe one of you just said it and that's where I heard it. But you need to step out of your comfort club, not your comfort zone. You need to step out of your comfort club. Why? Oh, I have my home club, and I walk in and everybody goes, yeah, Luisa's here. Okay, I won't get that at another club. They're not going to pamper me and tell me how great I am at a new club. Not an advanced club. An advanced club has a purpose, and their purpose is to make you a better speaker. So I know it's important for everyone that is serious about becoming a better speaker. Are you doing all you can do? Now, I commend you if you have that fear of public speaking. You see, I don't have it. So I have no problem giving speeches to 200 or 2,000 people. In fact, I'll do better if you give me 2,000 people instead of 200. Why? With 200 people, I can almost see all their faces. But with 2,000, I don't have time to look at everybody, so I just get up and I speak. I want you as a speaker, a person right now that you are trying to improve yourself and better yourself. I want you to get to the level where it doesn't matter whether it's 200 or 2,000 in the audience. I want you to get so comfortable in being on stage that you know this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I've been practicing for. This is what I've gotten good at. Because I tell you, it is euphoric when you get on a stage, deliver your speech with elegance and poise and meaning. And when you get that applause and you get that standing ovation, man, there is absolutely nothing that feels better than that. When you are able to inspire and motivate an audience, you have the power to do that by using words correctly. And if you are wanting to know where to go to get that level of feedback, to get that level of care, to get that level of interest, this advanced club is the club for you. And how do I know that? Any club that sets a standard, look, you need to do level 1 and level 2, level 3 minimum to hang out with us guys. What does that mean? These people are serious. Okay? So, if you're thinking about it or you really want to get better, again, I recommend step out of your comfort club. Now, I know next time I go to that restaurant, I'm going to ask for a better waiter until that new waiter learns everything he's supposed to. It's going to be the same when people are looking for speakers. If they know you're a beginner, they're going to wait a few years before you get better. Don't wait. Join now. Become that better speaker today. Leave your comfort club, and good luck. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Wow. Well, we still have you there spotlighted. Ladies and gentlemen, please unmute. Unmuting is easier than turning on your videos. Unmute. Let's celebrate Luisa for this wonderful
Fantastic.
keynote speech. Yes.
Awesome.
It
Congrats.
Let's show her love.
Good
That was
job.
phenomenal. Exactly. It was
Thank you.
really good. I took away so much, but for now, I want to see if there are any questions coming from the audience. Anybody have a question? I know she covered a lot of ground. Maybe answered your question before you could even raise it, but maybe something else came up. You can just put your thingy up, your hand up, and we will give you an opportunity. Samson has a question. Over to you, Samson.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Hi, Luisa. Thank you so much for that impactful speech. I'm actually quite passionate about advanced clubs, and I wonder what your thought is when it comes to grammar. Now, I know in Toastmasters, we say that we should eschew jargon when we're doing our speeches, and I fully agree with that. But what do you think is the place of grammar, especially when we use words that are not commonly used? Now, some people think that you're probably being bombastic or you're being pretentious, but I think for me, it can be a way to lend credibility, right? Because for me, it's all English, right? I don't think there's complex English or simple English, it's all English. So I normally struggle when sometimes I deliver speeches and I tend to tailor them for audiences and then sort of use this uncommon used words. Sometimes I use it intentionally. Sometimes I use it to communicate something about my status and standard. So I just think, especially when we're at an advanced club, where is the place for that use of language that is not just sort of common used words?
Great question. And it's a rather difficult answer, not so much difficult as it is perplex, because if you are going to be on the world stage, I was in costume back in 2019. I was giving a speech about me being in Texas, and I said, howdy, y'all. What is y'all? What does y'all mean? Who even talks like that? Well, we talk like that down here in Texas. But what I had to realize was I was speaking to a global audience. So the speech I used last year, I had to remember that for many in the audience, English is not their first language. So the last thing I'm going to do is bombard them with words that they might have to be sitting there and looking it up in a dictionary instead of listening to what I'm saying. Now, if I'm going to be speaking to professors and college students, of course, bring out all those nice, elaborate words, show your level of education, tell them, look, I'm here where you are, if not above you. So, and that's okay. But when you're speaking to a global audience and this audience might not have English as their number one language, you might want to take in consideration that using large words or words that are not commonly used may throw off your audience. If you're wanting the audience to empathize with you, go with simpler, more simplistic, more descriptive words than the large words. That's my take on it. Other people might have a different take on it, but that's how I saw it. And I corrected it from the 2019 speech to the 2024 speech. And I think it's what maybe elevated my chances of winning.
Thank you, Lisa. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Luisa, for the feedback. SAA, Kevin, Rubia, Daktari, do we have questions in the chat that you would like to read for Luisa?
Certainly. The first question is from Ilios, who says, have you rehearsed your speeches in an advanced club or advanced clubs to get feedback, or do you prefer to go on one-on-one with a speech coach? Have you used advanced clubs to get feedback to rehearse your speeches, or do you prefer to use a coach one-on-one?
Great question. The answer is no and no. No, I have never gone to an advanced club because I didn't know there was such a thing. If I would have known there was such a thing, I definitely would have reached out. So the other thing is, do I have a speech coach? No, I don't have a speech coach. I work on my diction. I work on my pronunciation. I work on my enunciation. So I don't look for a coach to tell me how to move, my vocal variety, my intonation, any of that. I have been told that all those areas are fine. Great, don't need coaching on them. What I probably needed coaching on was being able to have the audience relate to me, because I see things differently than most speakers do. So sometimes I've had to take one of my ideas and break it down or attack it in a different meaning than what I usually would have done. Example, the speech I gave last year, I started with clear, clear. And that gives the audience an idea of somebody's in peril, somebody's in a life-threatening situation. I was going to start it with, I heard the glass shatter, blood everywhere. And I'm thinking, who wants to hear that about blood everywhere? Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear it. I wanted to share it because that's how it was. And I saw the pictures and I wanted my audience to be there with me. And I said, there's got to be a better way to do that. So I had to change my speech entirely because I think a different way. I'm the one that will watch all those murder mystery movies and I want to know who killed the person, and I'm taking notes. I don't know why I'm taking notes. I shouldn't even be sharing this with you, but that's me. I like all that kind of interesting Law and Order, SVU, and crime, murder, and Dateline. Oh my gosh, I watch that all the time. And then I had to stop and think, Luisa, not everybody's mind is as warped as yours, so we need to change this up. So I did. Thank God I did. But I'm sorry. I hope that answered your question. No and no.
Thank you, Luisa. Dan, over to you, Maggie.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here and giving your insight. So I'm looking for one or two things that will indicate that you are in a good advanced club, and one or two things to indicate that you're in a good advanced club. And is there space for leadership in advanced club? Can you improve your leadership skills in an advanced club? Is it only communication skills? In summary, how do you know it's a good advanced club? And what about leadership?
That's an amazing question. And what happened with me joining Toastmasters, I just joined to compete. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to be an officer. I didn't want to do gavel masters with the children. I didn't want to do leadership. I didn't want to do any of that. However, joining the club I joined, I have a 95-year-old mentor, and she likes to do everything except compete. So she would tell me, Luisa, there's this 6th grade school. The children are 12 years old. They want me to do gavel masters. I need you to come with me. And out of sheer respect, I said, okay. So I wound up doing gavel masters, which was something I don't think or see it as leadership. But if you stop and think, you're taking these 12-year-old minds and you are just showing them everything that they can do if they learn how to speak. And to me, that's leadership in some way, form, or fashion. So you can join Toastmasters for one explicit reason, but before you know it, you're doing everything else that maybe you didn't want to do, maybe you didn't know you were going to do. So it's a package deal. And I will say this again, Toastmasters is the best kept secret, because for something that's been around 100 years and so few people know about it, and all the advantages you get from joining, it all comes together. I now have a community of family worldwide. I can go anywhere in the world, just as you can, and you can look up a Toastmasters club, and you're going to walk into that meeting, and they're going to welcome you with open arms. Instant family, instant nice people, instant growth. So you join for one reason, but you are going to wind up doing everything else without you knowing it.
Thank you,
you.
Mr.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for that question. I am seeing our clock has refused to stop. We want to freeze the time and spend all the time with Luisa, but it's not looking good. Is there somebody with a burning question that we can take, or would you, then we can see if we'll be able to talk to you later.
Madam Toastmaster, I think there's a question on the chat from Andrew Kamanu.
Okay, read it out, please.
Maybe I can read it out. Being part of an advanced club, I sometimes wonder how to keep pushing my growth without repeating the same style and cycle. What practical strategies would you recommend to keep evolving even among seasoned speakers?
Great question. For me, it's an easy answer. When I give an evaluation, they ask me to evaluate them, because I don't put icing on the cake. I give it to you exactly the way I see it. Why? Because that's the kind of evaluation I want. I don't want you to tell me, great speech. That does nothing for my growth. That does nothing for me to improve myself. So when you are going to give a speech, you should tell your evaluator, look, I'm looking, tell me if I sound the same as I did last week when I gave a speech. Did I do this the same? Did I do that the same? Let your evaluator know that you're trying to change, you're trying to improve, you're trying to get a whole different style. And when they come back with the feedback, they'll let you know whether you've done that or not, especially if you're going to get 3 different evaluations from 3 different people. But let your evaluators know what it is you're trying to improve on. And to me, that's the easiest thing. I've had people tell me, I speak too fast. Can you let me know if I'm speaking too fast? Absolutely. Sometimes my storyline doesn't match up. Sometimes I'm bouncing around and my segues don't match up. Can you look for that for me? Absolutely. So the evaluator, if you give them the responsibility of being able to tell you where you need to improve, they will take it on. They will take it on. So to me, that's the easiest way to change your style, to change your format, to change anything you want to about your speeches.
Thank you so much, Luisa. We would want to adopt you and give you an African name so that you stay here within the same time zone.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
That would be amazing, right? I know Kevin has something for you. He would like to celebrate you with that wonderful, beautifully designed certificate. Thank you so much. I will send it to you by WhatsApp.
Good.
Because
Thank
I don't
you.
have address. Thank you very much for joining us today. You can stay on a little bit longer if time allows you. And I will also send you a message, personal message, to say thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. And thank you for your patience. I'm so terrible about responding and emails and all that stuff because I'm old. Okay. I don't like to blame anything on my age, but I'm going to blame that on my age.
Let's blame that one. That's a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As you can see, Serah is laughing because she kept asking me, Maggie, has Luisa come back to you? I'm like, no, she hasn't. So ladies and gentlemen, you heard that for us in an advanced club, you will enjoy professional and high caliber of feedback. If you want to be a bestseller, you don't go to just any editor. You go to the best. However, if you're just happy to write a book and put it on your shelf, as long as it's published, well, that's again a personal choice. Searching for to be a better speaker requires you to go outside your club. You don't necessarily give it up, but you can add on to something. Because as she said, you heard Luisa say, I can paraphrase and say the teacher learns the most. A learner will come in and they will do even better than the teacher, and the teacher will learn in the process. And surround yourself with people who are better than you. Only then can you feel extended. As we go to the next segment, which is going to be led by our general evaluator, I will tell you a little bit about her and also ask her to please highly summarize that segment. At the same time, we will have a breakout room where we can give you more information about how to join Watabaruku. It is going to be led by Serah. Serah Wanjiku is a member of our club. She's going to tell you a little bit more about how to join Watabaruku. I know you're all curious and you want to join. We will tell you about our shopping list, how it looks like. I will tell you how your shopping list can change. Emilly Owiti is our division director, division D director. She is a member of Kisumu Toastmasters and has been in Toastmasters for 5 years. She is in Toastmasters to sharpen her leadership and communication skills. I was hoping she would write there to be able to finish her PhD soon. She admires Jack Canfield, a co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and Les Brown, who was adopted at birth by a single mother who raised him in a very low-income neighborhood. Did you know that Les Brown had been labeled mentally retarded? Sure, people are harsh. When he was in grade school, where is he now? I wonder who said he was mentally retarded, where they are. I wonder where they are. He used his voice. Always grab opportunities for leadership and public speaking when they present themselves and in coaching and supporting others to excel. That is what she's aiming to get out of Toastmasters. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Maggie, and thank you, Toastmasters and guests. I'd like to invite, oh, sorry, I'm seeing something else. The breakout rooms, should I go ahead as that happens? Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you. I didn't mention that I would also run the reports section, and we have 2 role takers who will give us reports for this meeting. I'll invite our first Toastmaster role taker, number 1, that's our timer, to give us feedback on how we are doing. Toastmaster Kevin Kimbio, please give us a report.
Thank you. Thank you so much, General Evaluator, for giving me this opportunity. Indeed, we have struggled a bit with time, but we are doing well. Serah took 3 minutes and 10 seconds in the table topic session. Joyce took 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Tracy took 2 minutes, 25 seconds. And I think the remainder of the table topics report is posted in the chat. In the evaluations, Rubia, Dr. Rubia took in the first session 2 minutes and 35 seconds. In the second, he took 2 minutes, 36 seconds, which is well within time. And Samson Makwodwol took 3 minutes, 3 seconds. I guess he had a lot to say. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate our timer, use our emojis. I'd like to invite our grammarian to give us a report. He was also doubling as the R counter. I hope he did that role as well. And then Toastmaster Maggie will tell me how much time I have for myself. I've noticed that the timer is rushing over that. So please, you will understand that when we don't manage our time properly, then now we have to run towards the end. Toastmaster Samson, welcome to give us the feedback.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I will start with the R counter report. I am pleased to report that we had very few instances of the use of the crutch words and filler words. Noticeably, there were only 2 speakers that I picked this from. Firstly, Robert had a couple of R's, and I also noticed that Robert uses the word "and" as a crutch word. So he'd say "and so," and finally, and sometimes combine a lot of ideas transitioning the word "and." So something possibly to work on. And the other person who had just 1 R, I think she was warming up into a speech, was Luisa. and I know she's happy to receive feedback. Turning to the Grammarian report, the word of the day, imbue, was used quite frequently. Maggie had me in stitches with her first use of the word imbue. Good attempts, though not quite accurate. And the moment she noticed when I explained the word of the day, she started using the word infuse, but you're using it correctly as infuse as opposed to imbue. So that was very interesting. Emilly Owiti used it once. Robert Karanja used it once. Elios used it once. Kevin, Luisa as well. Turning to some of the areas of improvement for our language, I was looking at 4 particular things, as 5 actually particular areas of common mistakes in English. These are misplaced modifiers, such as adverbs and adjectives and where they're placed, the improper use of the singular versus the plural, double negatives, improper tenses, and misuse of articles. I'm happy to report that at that level, I was not able to pick up a single grammatical area. So at least we're not dealing with rudimentary English delivery. Certain places that are picked up that could require a bit of improvement. For example, precision. One speaker said, as I get started on my presentation, probably just as I commence my presentation. I picked a couple of redundancies. Self-confidence in yourself. Already, self-confidence already implies self, so you don't need to say that. Imagine when you are talking to a friend. Imagine talking to a friend. You already have it. Pronunciation. Somebody said machete. It's actually machete. And one speaker spoke of being engulfed and taken as part of, this group that she was in. I feel like the appropriate term would have been embraced because there's a warmth and inclusion. Engulf tends to mean overwhelming, it tends to have a negative connotation. So just a bit of discernment when picking words. On good use, excellent. I did not pick any complex words. We know that I love them. We've had what Luisa said about it. So I'll be a bit, quiet on that note. But I loved phrases and words like when Kimbio talked about cards that denote, we had about extemporaneous speaking. I love how Maggie referenced the Jerry Maguire quote, show me the money, very relevant. Joyce Kanduki, when she was talking about reading paying dividends, an excellent metaphor. Tracy's talked about flabbergasted. And Tracy, there's also something you said very well, decorated my heart in places that had put duct tapes on. I don't even know what category of rhetorical flourish that, but it was just beautiful, right? Then we had Maggie talk about sparse yet powerful. That was an impactful juxtaposition, contrasting 2 words for creating effect. We had an analogy that was done very well by Luisa when she was talking about service at a restaurant to compare to service that you get at an advanced Toastmasters club. She talked about being euphoric on the stage, referring to intense excitement. She used a triad in terms of elegant, poise, and meaningful delivery. And I also like the word that she used, the idea of someone being imperiled, meaning they're in risk of fear. I thought that we all did well in pronunciation, excellent diction. I particularly liked Luisa's enunciation from someone from Texas. We normally struggle with the y'alls and the called words and everything, but I think it was a masterclass on how to really articulate yourself. And obviously being a fast speaker in English, that came out clearly. But I think also quite a number of our speakers distinguished themselves, including Serah when it came to enunciation. Finally, I thought there were certain missed opportunities for some of our prepared speeches. And I would encourage us to sometimes deploy quotes. So I thought Serah could have probably, in her speech, talking about event planning. She could have used a quote from Nancy P. McConnell, organize, do not agonize. And the power of quotes, number one, is it lends credibility to your speech, right? And especially when you use a speaker that is recognized. For example, Nelson Mandela, it's always impossible until it's done. I will also ask Kevin Rubia to share on the group Merriam-Webster link that provides rhetorical devices that we can use in our speeches. So you don't need to use big words. But for example, you can understand how powerful speakers like Martin Luther King deploy anaphora when they talk of, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream, right? That sort of repetition, alliteration. All in all, for an advanced club, I think we acquitted ourselves commendably. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Let's appreciate Samson. Samson, it's always very, very nice listening to you. And you have given very useful and practical feedback with regard to grammar. You can't do it any better. And that negates what we expect in Toastmasters. Of course, I know you can improve. Maggie, how much time do I have?
just summarize and send us a comprehensive report. If you can just speak to us in 6 minutes and send us a full report at the end. You can send it to us by email.
Okay, thank you. I will not take you through the introduction or the outline, but I had a brief outline. Indeed, I must commend Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club for organizing this session. And my intention was to review the meeting in the order that is on your screen. Looking at the flow of the meeting, the management, the role performance, learning experience, and then give general feedback. I'll try and do a minute in each and every one of those slides. In terms of introduction, there was good preparation. The meeting room was really warm when we came in, and that's really important. You introduced district leaders and welcomed our guests. I love the planning that you had for this meeting, the different sections that really were addressing the objectives of the meeting. What is an advanced club? A lot of people, ask that question and they want to understand, when I come into an advanced club, what do I expect? And the explanation by DTM Robert was very useful. I also love that he pointed out the specific tools that you use for measurement and how you came up with the three approaches to your evaluation or the feedback. And that really lends credibility because you're talking about an accredited speaker program, which is already there. The criteria is there. And I also love the theme that you adopted. It was very apt and you very well woven into this meeting. I want to comment on the prepared speech by Serah Wanjiku. Serah, your title was also good. The choice of the topic for this particular presentation, it was very well aligned. And you also touched on a leadership tool that you have struggled to work on, which is delegation. And indeed, even in a presentation of a speech, the members or the audiences that come should pick up something, and delegation is very important. You also mentioned that you're still working on certain things to improve yourself. I love the enthusiasm and your presence on stage. These are three critical things that the evaluators were looking at. I also felt, without repeating what has already been said, that you had an abrupt ending. It means you need to practice so that your speech is very structured. We don't get too much at the beginning and then lose towards the end. As an advanced speech, I would like to differ with the grammarian, especially in your use of the informal word, guys. I think the expectation is that you have rich language at that level, level 4. Somebody is presenting something, maybe if they can pause it for a minute. In terms of the role performance for the Toastmaster, you're very clear in your explanation of the role, which all the other role takers followed suit. And this really helps the audiences because then they understand what do they expect. Timer did the same, the TMOD and all the other people. Grammarian and accounter, I love the choice of the word. It was a verb. Usually adjectives are easier to use, but you did give us a word that many of us used. I want to focus not so much on table topics. Let me run through this very quickly because I'll focus on the evaluations. The first speaker in table topics, quickly, things that stood out for me is the clarity of your speech and the good structure. The second speech, I'd like to just give an area of improvement. You lost me in terms of your structure. I couldn't follow the flow of that story. Probably it was my listening skills, but that I missed out on that a bit. The third speaker, again, good structure, good delivery. However, because even table topic speakers, they're all speeches. If you choose to put on your video, let us be able to see your non-verbals as you speak, because this is also a delivery and any other speech. Toastmaster of the, table topics master, the three things I want to point out is your approach. In addition to the good questions that you asked, I love that you asked the questions first. One, it does engage the entire audience. It also helps to give that impromptu element because the skill we pick out of table topics is speaking impromptu. Just listening to that, but it also helps the rest of the speakers to think about what you're talking about, which makes us pay attention to you. To the table topic speaker, you had clarity of your speeches, most of you, and then you also had good structure. I think I've given that feedback to the second speaker. And there was also a very good enthusiasm, especially by the third speaker. And that demonstrates that the questions were delivered well and they were easy to understand. This is the area I wanted to give a little bit of focus, not taking a lot of time. There are three approaches you use to your evaluation, which is the content, grammar, and delivery. The first evaluator did very well, of course, using the sandwich method, stating the objectives and purpose, and were able to connect with that. However, when it came to the second speaker, that was also done very well, but there was an overlap between the second evaluator who was delivering on grammar and the third evaluator who should have been delivering giving feedback on delivery. The second evaluator, speaking about grammar, spoke about tone and I think pace. And that to me comes into delivery. So even as you take this approach to get the best out of it, let's demarcate this and have very clear boundaries so that the speakers get positive, critical, and useful feedback from all the three evaluators. What are the learning experiences? I feel engaging the audience as you delivered, especially the evaluators, when you delivered your feedback, it provided an opportunity for all of us to learn both in table topics and evaluation. I also love that you explained and marketed the Advanced Club. We know that when we come here, we want to accelerate our growth. You want to level up in your speaking. And we also know that other than telling us the positive things that have happened, we'll also expect direct feedback. So that was a good marketing opportunity. Luisa, your keynote speech was very, very important. Every time you speak, I pick tips, and I believe the audience also picked some very useful tips on how we can level up and actually get to the next level from where we are. This should be my final slide. General feedback. One, there were good efforts to manage time. However, we lost some time during transitions. And in some segments, I feel like we took more time. We can do a dry run or probably rehearse so that we make sure we deliver on time and also work on these transitions. One of the areas where we lost time is when we couldn't get the second evaluator. I love that Dr. Rubia jumped in. However, it took a bit of time. In the background, I would recommend that probably the Toastmaster of the day can engage the next speaker just before they come on stage so that we find out whether they're there or not and make those arrangements quickly and save on time. Dr. Rubia, it was beautiful that you jumped in and filled the gap. However, just when Samson left the stage, he mentioned that Alligator Makori was in the room and was coming up. It would have been good to explain that we are not expecting Alligator because not all of us know Alligator, that now it is Dr. Rubia. So a little introduction so that we fill that gap and have a smooth transition. And finally, on leadership, commitment to role delivery. When you take a role, let's encourage, being an advanced club, let's encourage people to commit themselves. If you're having a challenge, communicate so that we do not have one person taking the roles. At some point, I was looking at Kevin as a timer, and I noticed that the Toastmaster of the day was a timer of the day. You're very flexible. It's a good thing as Toastmasters, but in an advanced club, we can improve on this area, plan better, and have a better delivery. I will share a more detailed feedback. Otherwise, thank you very much. Back to you, Maggie.
Thank you. I will keep my red light there. Thank you, General Evaluator. I will keep my red flag behind there because we are now time up. I will hand the meeting back to the President to determine what to do next. Over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our Toastmaster of today evening, Maggy Waithiru. Everybody, I'll ask you to unmute yourselves and join me in a thunderous applause to appreciate Maggy Waithiru, our Toastmaster of today evening, for a wonderful meeting that has imbued us with a lot of good things. Thank you so much, Maggy. Amazing stuff. Thank you to all the role takers. Thank you to Luisa for that amazing keynote speech. Definitely, we have left the wiser. And without too much preamble, allow me to invite our Sergeant-at-Arms to just project to us the results of the polls. Over to you, Sergeant-at-Arms, if they are ready.
Yes, they are. To save on time, I won't project. I just mentioned that our winner for the best table topics is Joyce Adoke DTM. Congratulations. I will imbue your life with the certificate later. Over to you, our president.
Thank you so much, and congratulations to Joyce Kaduki. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, we have had an amazing evening. And how do you know whether an advanced club is a good choice? That is a question that is ringing in many people's minds this evening. At Watabaruku, we promise you two things that will help you to become a better speaker. And the first thing is the level of care that you will receive here and the quality of evaluations. The quality of evaluations, as structured in Watabaruku, is to help you to pivot your speaking skills from Toastmasters into the real world. Definitely, you will be seeing more from us in terms of evaluation workshops, and you will have opportunities to grow and become better at Watabaruku Toastmasters. With that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to call meeting number 145 to an end. It has been a pleasure. I'll close it with a quote. Your voice can inspire, your story can ignite change, and your courage to speak can shape a better world. Toastmasters, Watabaruku Toastmasters, is where that journey begins. Thank you so much and have a good evening.